Phone.
Okay.
Well, hello. Good. Yeah, it's still morning here in Columbia, Missouri. I just got on the MOX. Oh, well. Hey there. How you doing, John? All right. So this is William Friedman from the Cross Country Local, a project to go from the East Coast to the West Coast, clear across the United States using only local transit. And worked out very well till I hit Missouri and found out that Oates Rural Transit. We can get going anytime you want, Mike. Don't.
Yeah, I just have to.
All right.
I leave at 11:30. I have to call my dispatch
Okay.
when it gets time. I have both my passengers on, and then
All right.
he has to give me clearance to them.
Okay. All right. So there's a process. So anyway, yeah. Oates Rural Transit was less than helpful. And so my way through Missouri was to take the Easy Go airport shuttle from St. Louis's Lambert Airport to Columbia, which is about halfway through the state, not quite. And now I am on a MOX bus to take me the rest of the way to Kansas City. And of course, both of these are private companies. They do serve a public function because, frankly, the public uh, function is not being served by the public transit agencies. Well, good morning to you, Bon Vivant. Yeah, I'm actually on schedule now. I expect that to change next week. I am going to have to spend a couple of days in Wichita, a long weekend in Wichita. How much walking do you do? Do you allow yourself between stops? I have. Hi, I have a an app on my phone that counts my steps during the day, and I endeavor to average 10,000 steps a day. Now, when everything's going the way it's supposed to do with the trip, it could only be about 2,000, 3,000 that are actually business, and the rest is a matter of walking around. So last night, for instance, I found that there was a good Cajun restaurant about 2.5 to 3 miles from my hotel, or motel actually, and so I walked through the neighborhood to the Louisiana Cajun restaurant and walked back, and that got me over my limit. So anyway, yeah, but it's going to be no more steps for me between here and Kansas City. I think we're about to take off now. You may have heard a lot of big news coming out of this little town. This is where the University of Missouri is. So you're not filling in transit gaps by walking. I am, but I haven't had to do that for more than say 2.5 miles. So yeah, things have actually been working pretty well. Now, from Wichita, I've got a lift to the Oklahoma line, and I still have to line up something from Zydeco Dancing with Double Your Steps. Yes, no doubt. Turn around and head to St. Louis. No, I'm heading where the good food is, and that's Kansas City. I keep hearing great things about Arthur Bryant's, but my host there is and Mike, the driver, just gave me a thumbs up about Arthur Bryant's. But my host there, at whose disposal I am, wants to go to Oklahoma Joe's, and I'm still getting a thumbs up for Oklahoma Joe's. So I guess I can't go wrong. And he's going to be cooking out in his backyard tonight, so that should be pretty good as well. So yeah, heading to Kansas City. Now, like I said, I don't know who's picking me up at the Oklahoma line, so I might be in for a hike there. And there's about 30 miles between the Oklahoma line and Fort Worth that I really don't have nailed down, so I expect there's going to be some hiking involved there. And there's going to be possibly a really long hike between Lordsburg, New Mexico, and Wilcox, Arizona, and that just might be a 90-mile backpacking trek through the desert. It would take me about 5 days to do that. Fatso? Not so much anymore. I was when I left. And also, I just did an interview with the Mid-Missouri Broadcast News Co-op that apparently serves both ABC and Fox here. So that should be on the 6 o'clock news here in Columbia tonight. But it's funny. I showed up. The news office was on the same block as the MOX bus. So while I was waiting for MOX, hey, good to see you, John. While I was waiting for the MOX bus, yeah, it's coming. I dropped by and I talked to someone in news, and I said, I sent a press release, and they said, yeah, we saw the press release. And I said, and you dismissed me as a crackpot, right? And she said, no, it's just we've had really big news around here and kind of got lost. Apparently there's been a great deal of racial tension on the campus of the University of Missouri to the point where it disrupted Mizzou football, and that's where the community draws the line. One thing that's really struck me is, I live on Long Island, which is about as segregated as you can get on the East Coast. But Midwest has really been an eye opener. It's just so casual around here, and I had no problem believing that there were tensions. Apparently, this all started with a slur, with someone calling somebody something they shouldn't have. And I'm sorry, in New York, that would have just bounced off anybody's skin, no matter what color it was. Here, apparently, it caused riots and hunger strikes, and and cancellation of football, which you absolutely cannot tolerate. And it meant that the president and the chancellor of UM all had to step down. So anyway, that's what I walked into. Yeah, football is money. And you start playing with people's pockets, and that's when they start getting sensitive. So anyway, glad to be out of Columbia and heading to Kansas City, and I'm sure I'm going to get into a slew of new problems there. Also, while I'm heading towards Kansas, I think this is a good time for me to set the record straight about something. I am not going to go to Topeka. There have been some people asking me to go to Topeka. I'm not, and I want to make sure everyone's clear on the reasons why. I'm sure Topeka's a lovely town. I'm sure I would have fun if I went there. I'm sure I'd meet a lot of great people. But here's the deal, and I want you to hear it from me rather than hear it from somebody else. It was never on my itinerary in the first place. On the first draft of this trip, I was going to take the KCI Roadrunner from Lawrence to Junction City because that was the farthest point west where I could catch a bus. And that's where I stopped being able to find buses, and that's where I realized I had to make a sharp left turn down to Wichita and head down to the Mexican border and skirt that through Texas, New Mexico, and into Arizona. I was invited to stop in Topeka, and I was inclined to accept the invitation, but it would have involved it would have had to have involved sponsorship, because the Roadrunner is a pretty expensive way to travel, and it would have to go beyond just covering my expenses for 2 days or whatever, because that doesn't help me out, and all it does is delay my return home to my family by 2 days. And so anyway, I kept asking, where's this sponsorship that I'd been promised, and it wasn't happening. And then I said, well, what about this media appearance on a network affiliate in Topeka that you were talking about? And well, the news lady in Topeka never returned anyone's emails. She thought it was kind of a cool thing, but she wasn't going to cover it apparently herself. And then there was supposed to get an introduction to the mayor, which I thought was a stretch. And then I was supposed to to get an introduction to the governor, which I knew was baloney. And then I was also told that I would be introduced to some people at the transit agency. And okay, that's great. I talk to a lot of people at transit agencies. I don't have to go out of my way for that, but while I'm in Topeka, I'd love to talk to them. And so I talked to them. Incidentally, I was never told that the guy actually did make contact with the transit agency, and they were expecting me to visit and to get in contact with him. Finally, when I said as an ultimatum, listen, I need I need the names of people that I need to follow up with, or else there's no way I can do Topeka. So I finally get that email forwarded to me, and I talked to the people at the transit department in Topeka, and I asked them, okay, great, I'd love to visit, love to ride your transit, and they were all very proud of the transit in the city of Topeka. And I asked, okay, so how do I get there? What system hooks me up there from Lawrence? And literally birds chirped in the background. There was no way to get to Topeka on mass transit except for the KCI Roadrunner, which, like I said, was really expensive. And they tried to arrange a van pool, but the van pools are arranged by the state and strictly for state employees, so I wasn't welcome to ride the van pools there like I was in Pennsylvania. So in the meantime, Morris County General Public Transit was very happy to send a van for me to Lawrence, or even to KC Mo if that's what I wanted, and take me all the way to their home office in Council Grove, and then on to Wichita. And then there's good mass transit in Wichita, and at the south end of that, I've got the Futures Unlimited Walt system that's going to take me down to the Oklahoma line. Oh, hi, how are you? And so there's really no reason for me to go to Topeka. It's out of my way. It costs a lot of money, and nothing that was promised to me was delivered. So that would have encouraged me to alter my plans. So there you have it. If you have any questions or concerns, you can ask me directly. If you need a way to ask me directly, a couple of things. We can private chat here on Periscope. That means that you need to follow me, so please follow me here on Periscope, and please invite your friends to follow me here on Periscope. You can also follow the Cross Country Local on Facebook, and then you can just send me a private message on Facebook. Again, Cross Country Local Facebook public page. And you can, yeah, I know you did. Yeah, thumbs up. And then you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is just William Friedman, no space, and Friedman is spelled Freedman. And if you just want to follow the conversation about Cross Country Local on Twitter or Instagram, it's hashtag XCLocal for X-Ray Charlie Local for Cross Country Local. All right, so that's it for now. Heading to KC. I'm going to be there for a couple of days because things don't run real well on Veterans Day, and then Thursday I will be back on the road through Kansas, and I'll catch up with you then. In the meantime, see you along the route.